Hey guys, what's going on? It's your favorite eunuch for the kingdom. The and you know what, guys? Today, um, I wanted to talk about something that I've been considering talking about basically since the beginning of this channel. Um, I briefly mentioned it, and I've made videos about the specific instances of some of my experiences on this these sorts of platforms. Um, but I've never talked about just like in general what online dating was like as a severely physically disabled man. And before you ask, yes, it works down there. Um, and no, there's no issue with that. Um, so yeah, before cause I know, even though I put this there, I'm still gonna get those comments. Anyway, um, yeah, guys, I started online dating, um, basically the day I turned 18. The day I turned 18, I started a Tinder account, and I'm 26 right now. So, 8 years ago, basically, a little over 8 years ago, I started my first Tinder account. Um, and yeah, guys, what can I say? It was brutal, and keep in mind, I was already like in a certain YouTube rabbit hole, because of my isolation and rejection by pretty much everyone at school, and my own introvertedness, my own my surgery, which I've talked about. So it was not a good. Plus, I was a teenager still, technically. So yeah, bro, having to face the brutality of Tinder as a disabled man, um, it was just not good. I got the average amount of matches for an average guy, which, and I actually, even back then, I calculated that stuff, man. I even still remember, I averaged it out, um, because I was that desperate. I wanted to know my match rate to, like, 'cause I had to salvage something of my pride and my ego from it. And my match rate was around 0.5%, which according to leaked Tinder documents that I read about, I'll see if I can find a link to that. That's what your average guy on Tinder, that's his match rate. Um and yeah, man. Well, what can I say? Like I said, it didn't make me feel good. The little self-esteem and the massive bitterness that I had were just like the self-esteem crashed even lower to the ground, man. Um, and my bitterness just increased. It probably delayed my getting out of that space, the one that I talked about before with the YouTube rabbit hole, like a year or a year and a half. Um, because yeah, my brother would come and give me a stern talking to like 6 months after that. Um, more or less. but it still took time to deprogram my mind and get a healthier view of women and I still to this day struggle with some things. You guys know that. I've been honest about that. But yeah, it was just the brutality of basically not getting chosen. I mean, I did match with girls, but you know what? Usually when they found out the full extent of my condition, they would just want to be friends even if they really like talking to me. Now there was, I think, maybe in the entire time that I was on the app, cuz I was on the app basically um until I went to Guatemala for the first time in 2018. um and yeah, there were a few where it was my fault. I messed up, I got too eager, I got too desperate, whatever, right? Or flat out, during the very last one in 2020, during the pandemic where I had the chance, I just didn't feel like doing it. Um, that's, um, but yeah, and the most brutal thing the most brutal thing was the day when I literally ran out of matches because all the girls in like a 5 or 10 mile radius, I forget what it was, but they all swiped left on me. I literally had no matches in my deck, bro. That freaking destroyed me inside. And you know what? Because I was a desperate teenager wanting to desperately get laid. Um, I kept going. I joined Plenty of Fish. I joined OkCupid, and yeah, pretty much same story. Um, on the women that I met on OkCupid and Plenty of Fish, I don't think I ever even met any of them uh in person. I maintained sometimes years long text communication with them, but nothing more. And looking back on it now, it just wasn't a good experience. Another thing that I experienced on Plenty of Fish and OkCupid especially was racism. Like, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I know this might get the video um you know what I'm talking about hidden or whatever, but I'll risk it because I feel like I can't be silent about that. But yeah, there were plenty of girls on Plenty of Fish. Less on Tinder because I think, Plenty of Fish and OkCupid are more about actual dating, although casual stuff does happen on those apps too. But yeah, I literally saw some girls' profiles that were like white only, or I don't mix. That's just not something my family does. It wasn't like, oh, I have a preference for only white men, which is different, right? That's pretty fine. These ladies were actually putting like, yeah, no one that's not 100% European or stuff like that. That was the vibe. Like, and I mention this because, as I always like to say, I know it doesn't look like it. I know I pass, but I'm mixed. I'm a mestizo. My dad is brown. Um, my mom is light skin with European features, kind of like me as well. But like, tons of my of my grandparents are brown, dog. Like my great grandparents too. More of them, I think, more of my great grandparents, I think, were Spanish. But um, you know, the rest of my grandparents, like maybe three or four of them, were mixed, and like it's like, bro, what do you expect me to do? Like, yes, I look this way. I'm pale. I have green eyes, brown, straight brown hair. But it's like, genetics is complicated. Uh, there's a chance, my child could come out looking like what would be his grandfather, my dad, who is dark, or any one of my grandparents who were dark or had curly hair or whatever, or maybe one even might look indigenous, who knows? But like, you know what I'm saying? What do you do in a situation like that? It felt like I was gonna have to certify each one of my nuts with Aryan papers. Like each time I would nut, like, yeah, here's certifying that you're gonna get a white baby. Like it was gonna it was gonna be like, oh no, like what's that movie Friday After Next where Cat Williams is like, whose white baby is that? Whose brown baby is that? Nah. But yeah, bro, and again, it's just like what do you even say? What do you even do to that man? Like, you know what I mean? And it's funny because when I actually eventually did get to, do the deed with a person, it was online, but it wasn't even on technically a dating app. I've told this story before, but the the woman that I finally did it with, I met on Whisper, and we just realized we lived close to each other, and our relationship developed from there. I've talked about it in other videos, so I'm gonna keep it at that. But it's like, yeah, man. Uh, that's the most funny part. Like, it wasn't even on a date. I've been on many more, guys. I've been on many more, but those are just some of the worst ones of my experiences on general experiences on OkCupid, Tinder, and Plenty of Fish. And I'm not even going into specifics about how many times I was ghosted, how many times I was stood up on dates. I've still, to this day, never technically been on a date with a girl. I've never been in a relationship with a girl. I've been in a situationship technically, but yeah. If I mentioned all of that other stuff, um, it would it would this video would be like hours long. But yeah, my point is like, don't go on online dating apps, guys and girls. Also, the ratios, excuse me, of guys to girls are completely out of whack. Like it's like 70-30 or 80-20 on most of them. But like, yeah, don't don't go on dating apps if you're an average guy. Just don't. Just like I'm telling you now, as a disabled guy who wasted literal years of his life trying to do it that way, through basically what was at that time the only channels available to him, don't do it. Go out into your community. Uh, I know it's really hard out there right now for men, but go out there, try to meet someone in your community, do like I don't know. These are the things that I like book clubs, cosplay, stuff like writing groups, painting groups if you can. I can't paint, but like I'm in a Bible study. Um just get out there and meet real people, real persons because you'll have more luck that way. And you won't get an abstraction or a person that can easily like just walk away or ghost you. Just try as best as you can to meet someone in the real world. I know that's so hard right now, but it's like trust me, the alternative is worse. Trust me. All right, see you guys. Thank you.